4 candles.
4 candles. Here you are. 4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning I am in Croydon. I'm by a very, very busy road, which is also by a small sort of woodland area. But behind me over there, where there is being works done on that house, is the former house of Ronnie Corbett. And he lived in Adlington from 1970 to 2003. Now he sold the house eventually to JLS singer, is it Otis? Who was there, but in 2019 the place got burnt down. So what we're going to do with the start of today's video is just to see if we can have a little peek through the gates there. I don't know if you can see them without getting told off by a builder. And then what we're going to do is go and find the church where Ronnie Corbett had the service of his passing, where many celebrities turned up. And then we're going to go to the crematorium of where this great man was cremated. Now, of course, I'll be telling you about his life as we go through our journey, but I wanted to start off at his house. Previously, urban explorers have gone in there, and it is believed that there were squatters in there for a little while. I don't know who owns it now. However, it is having work done on it. So we're going to have a little sneak peek just around the corner and see if we can see anything. I'm not too hopeful, but you never know, dear. It's always worth a try, isn't it? So we're going to do that now, shall we? See if I can get across the road first without getting myself killed. I think I have to come up this way. So that's the house there. And we'll see if we can have a little sneak peek in through the fence. Now, of course, all the cars are stopping, slowing down and wondering what's going on. I'm just a dude walking along with a camera. But this is it, 235. And obviously you can see some of the damage there. There's a swimming pool around the back. And there was lots of fire damage done to the place. So what I'm going to do is just see if I can poke my head round a corner a little bit and have a look. There's a garage. You can see the damage, what's been done there. Now it looks like an old fire there, but the roof looks like it's been repaired. Now, I'm going to go and ask a builder and see what he says. So I'm going to hide my camera for a couple of seconds and just ask and see if I can film a little bit. He might say no. Let's say yes. I don't know what you can see there, but there's some work coming along. It's really difficult because there's nowhere to get around the back or anything like that at all. And obviously they're doing a lot of work there. So at least we got to see some of the house, which is there. And like I say, not only did Ronnie Corbett live there, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Otis. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm not being disrespectful, but the guy from JLS. But he was up on an alleged rape charge, and he got found not guilty. Must stress that. And then when that happened, I think it was literally a few days later, the house got burnt down. So he sold it. But he had a massive loss on there as well. Nice dude there. Grey van driver, let me cross. So he lost money on it. I think he bought it for 3 million in 2013, but he put it on the market in January 2017 for 1.7 million at a loss. But he hadn't sold it, and obviously once the court case had happened, that's when the damage got done afterwards, after that. But there we go, Ronnie Corbett's old house. So what we're going to do now is go to the church where the service was for Ronnie Corbett's funeral. So we're going to go and head there right now. Okay, just literally down the road from where Ronnie Corbett lived is St John the Evangelist's Church, and this is where his service was held. So we're going to have a little look in there if we see if we can get in the church, and I'll give you a little bit more information as we go through. So we'll have a little nose in here, because this is literally, like I say, up the road from where Ronnie lived. And I don't know if it's open or not. But now, his funeral service was held on the 18th of April 2016. And in tribute to him, they actually had four candles on top of the coffin, displayed at the altar for him. And there was many celebrities here, including Michael Parkinson, Rob Brydon, Jimmy Tarbuck, and of course Barry Cryer, who worked with him for many years, and Barry Cryer, who's sadly no longer with us anymore. But when you see some of the footage of the funeral service, you can see some of the celebs coming in through this part here. Now, I don't know if the church is open, but there's no harm in having a look, is there? Wow. That's nice. Door's not open there. But yeah, when you see the pictures of the service, you can see some of the people that come through here, and then obviously down into the main entrance there, which is closed, sadly, which I'm surprised about, because it's 9:20 on a weekday Thursday morning. Let's have a little look around here. It's quite a nice cemetery. Like I said earlier, this is literally a few minutes up the road from where he lived. I say cemetery, it's more of a churchyard stroke cemetery, isn't it? For those of you that don't know, well, you may know, but churchyards are usually open like 24/7, so to speak, and just walk in there. Cemeteries are locked usually. And with churchyards, they're quite specific as to who they allow to be buried there. You have to either have lived in the community for a while, or been to the church for a while and asked the vicar special permission if you can be buried there and arrange it. And a lot of cemeteries these days, people are booking their places. Now, I've seen some really bizarre, like graves and things like that. So as we're here, we might as well take advantage of it, and I'll show them to you. We've got ones like this, look. I mean, that one, it's a bit unusual. And then look at this. Their youngest daughter passed to eternal home, 12th December 1947. And another one over here, look. But that's just the cross has fallen down. So. But I saw, as we walked across there, I saw a few other unusual ones. these ones always fascinate me, you know, about how much money back in those days you'd have had to pay to get, I mean, imagine what you have to pay these days, crikey O'Reilly. But they really did go, this is a big one here, is this? And I'm just wondering, because it's a bit of an affluent area, as to whether or not there's going to be some like well-known, not necessarily famous people, but just sort of like well-known people in the community and in the area. I mean, look at that. It's crazy. But these old designs are amazing when you look at them. I mean, look at this. It's just phenomenal. There's a plaque here. Don't know if you can read that. Jessie Marie Peake, beloved wife of Leonard Mee Peake, died suddenly at 18th March 18th, 1905, aged 37. Wow. Anyway, we're getting slightly sidetracked, but we don't mind that. That's the church where the service was held for Ronnie Corbett. Sadly, we can't get in there. I was hoping we'd be able to have a little sneak peek, poke our head round the door, round the corner. You know, that's why I left it a little bit later to come to this part. But it's closed. So what we'll do now is we'll head to the crematorium where Ronnie was cremated. We'll tell you a little bit more about his life when we get there. Okay, so we've now arrived at a very windy Croydon crematorium, okay, which is a cemetery attached to it as well. So in a moment, providing there's not a funeral going on, we'll go to the actual crematorium area itself. But first, what I want to do is tell you a little bit about the late, great, amazing Ronnie Corbett, of course. So far, we've seen his house where he used to live. And of course, we've been to the church in the churchyard where he had his actual service, but then they brought Ronnie here where he was cremated. So we'll tell you a little bit about Ronnie first, and then we'll see if we can have a little look around the crematorium gardens, memorial gardens, and of course the crematorium itself, providing there's not a funeral on at that time. Now, Ronald Balfour Corbett CBE was born on the 4th of December 1930 and passed away on the 31st of March 2016. He was a Scottish actor, a broadcaster, comedian and writer. He had a long association with Ronnie Barker, of course, in the BBC television comedy sketch show, The Two Ronnies. He achieved prominence in David Frost's 1960 satirical comedy programme, The Frost Report, which if none of you have seen, I've actually visited David Frost's final resting place. Had a few technical audio problems that day. But yeah, I'll tell you about Ronnie in that as well when I go to see his David Frost final resting place. And starred in such sitcoms as No, That's Me Over Here, Now Look Here, and of course, Sorry, amazing programme. Now, Corbett began his acting career after moving from Edinburgh to London. He had early roles in the TV series Crackerjack, The Saint, and he appeared in many films, including You're Only Young Twice, Rockets Galore, Casino Royale, Some Will, Some Won't, and No Sex Please, We're British. If you haven't seen that, it's quite funny. He first worked with Ronnie Barker in the BBC television series The Frost Report in 1966, and the two of them were given their own show by the BBC 5 years later. Now, The Two Ronnies run as a comedy sketch show from 1971 to 1987 and became Corbett and Barker's most famous work. Corbett became known for his Mandarin chair monologues, which was quite funny. He used to sit in a chair and just... he used to literally sit in his chair and just ramble on about things. And if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. There's plenty on old broadcast channels and networks of Ronnie Corbett having one of his monologue moments. They're really funny as well. Some of them are quite deep, but quite good as well. Worth checking out. Now, following national service, Corbett moved to London to start his acting career. He's 5'1", which is 1.55 metres, and he suited playing roles that were a lot younger than what he actually was as well. So you always got the parts where he played a younger person. References to his height were frequently cropped up in his self-deprecating humour, and one of his earliest stage appearances, he was billed as Ronald Corbett at Cromer in Take It Easy 1956 with Graham Stark. He also appeared in Crackerjack as a regular in its early days, one episode with Winifred Atwell, and he had to walk on in an early episode of 1960s, The Saint. Now, Ronnie Corbett also starred in the musical production of The Boys from Syracuse in 1963 with the late great, another comedy legend, Mr. Bob Monkhouse, of course. Another funny man, Bob Monkhouse, amazing guy. In 1965, he was in Cabaret at Winston's, Danny LaRue's Mayfair nightclub. Danny LaRue, another one I've been to visit in the past. If you haven't seen his final resting place, it's on the channel there as well. Corbett was also in the West End playing Will Scarlett in Lionel Bart's Robin Hood musical Twang. It failed, leaving Corbett free to accept. It was while working at Danny LaRue's nightclub that Corbett met Anne Hart, whom he was later to marry. The marriage lasted 49 years until he passed away. Now, going back to earlier on about Corbett working with Ronnie Barker in David Frost's TV show, many of the writers were mostly Oxbridge graduates from Footlights tradition. Corbett said he and Barker were drawn together as two grammar school or state secondary school boys who had not gone on to university. The show was a mixture of satirical monologues, sketches and music, and Corbett and Barker were beginning to be thought of as a pair in their working comedy routines. Corbett's BBC television comedy show with Ronnie Barker ran from 1971 to 1987. And they both performed sketches, musical sketches. Corbett presented a monologue sitting in his large, easy chair, with the emphasis on his small size, of course. Usually wearing a Lyle and Scott golfing V-neck sweater. He could stretch telling a simple joke over several minutes. Sometimes you would watch it and go, oh, just get to the punchline, get to the punchline. But that would be his thing. His whole thing would be to sort of drive you up the wall while he's telling the story as well. Now, away from the Two Ronnies, Ronnie Corbett was probably best known for playing Timothy Lumsden in the TV show Sorry, which ran from 1981 to 1988. If you haven't seen it, it's a story about a man that lives with his mum still, and he's constantly apologising. He's basically apologising for who he is in life, things that he gets up to. But it's it's a good comedy, it's really well written, and that's probably the work that he's known best for, away from being with the Two Ronnies, you know. So there's some information there on Ronnie Corbett. Now, he was also a keen golfer. He loved cricket as well, and he was a big fan of Crystal Palace Football Club, which I believe is the local football club to the Croydon area. Now, what we're going to do now, I've seen a few cars passing, so I'm not sure if there is a funeral going on over at the actual crematorium itself, but we'll have a look. If not, we'll see if we can get in there and find out a little bit more. I don't know if there's a memorial plaque, but I will go in and ask. That's the important part, okay? We're going to see if there's a memorial plaque there for Ronnie Corbett. Corbett died on the 31st of March 2016, aged 85 at Shirley Oaks Hospital in Shirley, London, surrounded by his family. He had been diagnosed with motor neuron disease in March 2015. John Cleese said that Corbett had the best timing he had ever watched. Sir Bruce Forsyth said Corbett's death marked one of the saddest days of my life. David Walliams, a close friend of Corbett, said that he was his comedy idol. It just goes to show, like with those names that I've read out of all the people that you know, sent their condolences and were obviously saddened by his passing, of how well thought of Ronnie Corbett was in the comedy world. Well, of course, both of them were the Two Ronnies, of course. But as an individual as well, he was obviously very well liked, thought of as a very funny and clever comedian. Now, as I've come down here, I'm walking towards where the actual crematorium is, and I've noticed some cars have gone past. So, I'm not sure if there is actually a funeral on, but we will get as close as we can, and we will go to the memorial gardens themselves. I'm not sure if Ronnie Corbett has a memorial plaque. Okay, so I will go into the office and ask, and if he has, obviously I will go and film it. Now, it's one thing that I've been unable to obtain before doing this today. I phoned up, I didn't have any joy, so I will go into the office and ask. I won't film that, obviously, out of respect for the staff, but we'll just walk through the memorial gardens now, which are on the way to the crematorium, and I'll show you those. Obviously, it's that time of year where all the rose bushes or whatever's been planted there have died off as we head into the winter time. But we'll have a look around here, and let's see. There's some workmen there. That's the crematorium over there, so I'm going to go and look for, there's some more plaques and names and things there. I'm going to go over to the office. Like I say, I won't film that part, but I'll just ask and just see if they've got one, and I'll come back onto the camera afterwards, and we can have a look, can't we? Keeping our thing. Okay, so I've just been in there to speak to the staff. I'm being quiet because there are some people turning up there. There is no memorial plaque, sadly. However, his ashes are, or were, spread at Addington Golf Club. Which is literally down the road from where he lived, from where we were earlier on. So, so it's an area that we've already been to. So yeah, so his ashes are spread at Addington Golf Club, and obviously that's quite near his house, which is all the way back down there. But there you go, and the gentleman said that there's no plaque here, which is a shame, but you know, it's I suppose that's the family's wishes sometimes, isn't it? But at least today, we know where Ronnie Corbett was cremated, over there. We've been to his old house, which has sadly been burnt out in that fire, and I can't believe it's taken nearly 4 years for that to get back up and running now. And you know, as we saw, there's lots of work to be done there. And of course, we went to the church where he had his service in as well. I've been asked for Ronnie Corbett a lot since I have filmed Ronnie Barker before, so that's as close as we're going to get, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. But I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave your comments down below. Let me know your memories of the legend himself, which is Ronnie Corbett, and I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy.
That's all we've got time for this evening, so it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.